news.
Thank you. Thank you very much for wishing us children. You have to know why I act the way I do. I'm a child. Thank you very much.
Yes, the child in the studio says we need to know why he acts the way he acts.
Yes, mommy.
That's why we've invited a child psychologist in today to let us know why children do the things they do, and maybe sometimes how the things we do and the things we say to them, how those things affect them. I'd like to welcome Mr. David Akinyemi, child psychologist. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am.
Yes.
Why do children act the way they do?
Wait now.
Oh, sorry.
Happy Children's Day. And I'm saying that for the benefit of your patients.
Okay, we are all children.
Thank you.
All right.
Somebody gave birth to us.
Thank you.
Yes, because
So when we meet our parents, to them,
I was
we
going to
their children.
call my children after this program and say, Happy Children's Day to you.
And they will say to
And
you,
they will
ma'am,
say, am I a child? And I say, you are not a child, you are my child. So why do children behave the way they do?
if you look at...
You know what we mean by that.
Yes. If you look at a child, normally, if you look at a child is usually very, very innocent. A child has a blank mind. Whatever you see a child do emanates from experiences, exposure, and certain things that has been inherited from both parents in form of trait patterns. So aside the trait patterns inherited from parents, the environment the child flows in the culture, the school the child attends, the vicinity the child is growing, all those things contribute to what you will see a child do.
A child of 4, for instance, stealing somebody's book from school and bringing home. I mean, a parent would sometimes want to ask, where did you learn that from?
Yeah. A parent can ask where the child learned it from. But while the child was also growing before that particular stage, you see, I don't want to talk about theories, but then from deep down, there are some things that the child would have elicited that could have been pampered.
For instance?
For instance, a child crawling to a visitor who has just been offered a drink. You know, usually, maybe it's still a child. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
It's still a child and it's been overlooked. Over time, that pattern grows. After all, nobody's frowning at it. So that covetousness can actually grow in that particular child. And then wanting other things. You know, at times you will see what that child is stealing. Possibly the child has even better things at home.
Yeah.
And then you wonder, this is ridiculous. So certain, you see, there are always, you see, for anything you see later in the future, or as a child grows older, there are some things that would have been flagged from onset that were possibly ignored?
Sometimes we reward our children for good behavior and reprimand them for bad. Does that work? Is it a good practice?
You see, what you have just said is a learning practice. And is in a way to ensure the continuity of a good behavior.
Why should I reward you for cleaning your room? You know you should clean your room. So because you made your bed today, I should give you a bottle of Coke. Why?
No, reward system doesn't have to be, how will I put it?
Tangible?
Tangible, like the Coke or money.
Okay.
Or things that you're talking about.
Okay.
A reward system could just be like, wow, I love this. You are doing well. Beautiful.
Just words.
Exactly. Making comments.
Okay.
Just like, oh, you're looking beautiful today. So when you tell a child you're looking beautiful today, you're handsome today, the child will like, oh, what exactly did I do today that made people comment this way? So the child will want to, keep attention to that and follow that steps.
I'm curious about something that you said, when you talked about discipline. You said on one hand, there's this covetousness that the child is demonstrating that should have been flagged, and some parents let it be because it's a child. Other parents just speak to you with their eye.
Speak to you in the eye.
With the eye.
Yes.
Like
exactly. That was the way someone like me grew up. When a visitor comes and is offering you money, the next thing is
you look at mommy.
You look at your mom or your dad.
Take it.
At times, take it might not mean take it.
Exactly.
You also will understand the tonation of that take it.
There is take it, then there is take it.
Exactly.
Take it.
Take it.
Exactly.
And he sounds like you have some experiences. The way you are laughing, I'm suspecting.
Parents.
When visitors comes in, that she will not tell you,
Don't
leave.
or don't sit down.
You just look at you, and then the next thing is you excuse them and you leave. But then, the kids that are growing now, I'm not sure they have that skill.
Which brings me to that question. There are those who, we had a guest here earlier, and we've had some who say that parenting patterns have changed.
Yes.
Consequently, our approach to raising children should change. What has changed? When did it change? Why has it changed? And what did it change to? 4 in 1.
Okay.
What
has changed, first of all?
Like I always say something, culture is defined as what? The way of life of a particular people. In Nigeria, we have our own pattern. And in recent times, I've realized that a lot of people want to follow the foreign pattern. Anyway, the foreign pattern might have worked for the foreigners too. But our own pattern too has worked for us. I'm not saying that one should be mean to a child. Like, if you look at the days of our forefathers, why a man, we say because he is hungry, brings out a wood that is being laced with fire to chase his or her child because he is hungry. I'm not in support of that pattern too. but we can modify, but not neglecting totally the root. So many people now will say, I don't want my children to go through the pattern I went through. It's a good one. But you must also be very careful too. I'm not saying you put your child to suffer, but in a way of not allowing that child to go through the rough path. But you must also allow the child to understand the rough path. He might not go through it, but the child understand that there's a rough path.
So you don't totally insulate them. You can
You're not
insulate
making
them
him
from,
suffer, him or
you're
her
not,
to
you're
suffer.
not insulating them
But
from.
he's aware that suffering exists.
Yeah.
So there is the
Yeah.
consequence that you don't want them to go through, but they need to know that there is such a thing.
Exactly.
Because there are other people who are going through.
And
Why
therefore
did-
be able to appreciate
Yes.
their circumstance.
Exactly.
Why did the change come? Why that change of parenting from what we had to what we now have?
Importation.
We imported that one too.
Yes.
We imported culture.
You know Nigerians, anything made in
We are more
Nigeria is not
American than
appealing.
more American than the American.
Exactly.
So
It's
essentially,
importation.
essentially we're saying here, okay, maybe you should draw the line for us between what some call high-handed child discipline and child abuse.
You know, beating now is child abuse.
So I'm told,
It's child abuse.
as a psychologist. Exactly.
Okay, let me put it to you directly.
Okay.
Is it wrong to beat your child?
For me, it's not wrong to beat a child.
As a
I was
professional,
once a teacher.
as a professional, or as a as you.
As Mr.
As
Akinyemi.
me. I was once a teacher. And while I was teaching, I always tell my students, I don't beat beyond 2 strokes. In most cases, 1 stroke. But at max, 2. And why beating you? I will let you understand the reason why you are being flogged. Is usually at times, people use the rod without communicating. When you use the rod, there must be a vivid communication. So it's when your case is critical that I even beat you too. Then you understand that, I've done a very bad thing.
For this man who doesn't beat to beat me.
So, for me, even what does the Bible say? Spare the rod.
And spoil the child.
So, in disciplining a child, it's a carrot and stick approach. A sort of pampering, which is the carrot. The stick to reprimand. I'm not saying, you see, where the punishment, where beating can be an abuse, is when you beat to inflict marks. You don't have to beat with a act of wickedness. No. Some people will beat and create marks. It's uncalled for. So, when you beat a child, it doesn't. You are slapping. You slap a child now, and all of your 5 fingers are showing. That's brutality.
Okay. Now, you see, I would like you to help us parents draw the line. Because the psyche of the parent has to also be factored in. We were talking the other time about policies of government that affect the parents in such a way that the parents themselves need to see a psychologist in order to be able to take care of their children the way, they are expected, the way society expects them to. Now, the parent is probably somewhat dysfunctional as well. and has to raise a functional child in a functional society. Help parents draw the line, create the balance. Please factor in that in every society, there are various categories of people.
You know, nowadays we have many unprepared parents.
Accidental parents.
We have accidental.
Oh, that's different.
We have unprepared.
Okay.
Now, accidental.
Please.
Out of the blues, she got pregnant. And then she's been told to marry. That could be accidental. Unprepared. You just know that it's a stage for you to marry. But you don't have a plan. For everything that is achieved appropriately, went through a process. A lot of people don't want to follow the process now. I see parents that are selfish now. They just see giving birth as one of the obligations in marriage. As long as you are married,
you have to have children.
You have to have children. So basically, we have many parents that are just busy with their personal life. Especially when there is even money. I can have a nanny for you. I can have a driver for you. But where is that space of personal interaction where you create a good rapport between you and your child? It's very, very important. When that relationship does not exist, you barely know the child. Then the child is being thrown into the hands of a stranger who will teach the child the best practice according to the person.
Yeah.
So you see, you talk about kids being influenced by their peers. Go deep down to their homes. I'm not sure the bond is strong. While I was growing up, everything that happened in school is what I share to. But how many parents have time for that now? I'm tired, especially in Lagos here.
Everybody's hustling.
Where you are stuck in traffic for hours. And the next thing you are thinking of is to crash. No, we'll talk about it tomorrow. And there's never that tomorrow. So, parents need to understand how to balance work and family. It's important. It's very, very important.
Now, we spoke about communication the other time. And I'd like us to speak a little more about it, because we began this program, for instance, by talking about the fact that generally it seems children get the sore end of the stick. The unfair hand is usually dealt to parents, to children, by society. Be it at home, on the roads, in school, in the hospital, wherever. As my colleague said, even when she was growing up, she was telling us that, look, you don't talk. Nobody wants to listen to you. Just do as you are told.
Full stop.
But today, you tell a child to go somewhere, the first thing you hear is, why?
Yeah. Why? Because...
So how do we communicate to children? How do parents who dared not say why
to
can
their
sit
parents
down and listen to their own parents, can sit down and listen to why from their kids?
Any parental style adopted is the conviction of that particular parent of best practice. For our parents, why we could not say why? does it still mean is the best practice? But for a child who is asking the question, I don't also think such child should be shut down. You see, especially a growing child, questions like that helps them build confidence the more you answer it. The more you answer those questions, help you establish a good relationship with them, because the child is aware that every question being asked will be attended to. So I don't see them asking the why question, but the attitude can be corrected, because the attitude might not be right. And is what can be questioned should be the attitude, not the question the child is asking.
Now,
he has only asked the question.
You said something the other time about accidental parents and unprepared parents. Help parents understand their children in this particular issue. Some children just want to talk. Some just want to play. Some don't talk. I have experiences where some parents who are disciplined and are disciplining their own children can't stand the way some other kids, maybe in church, at events, wherever, are just running amok.
Messy.
And the parent who is disciplined and trying to discipline the parents are like, can't you, some parents I can't imagine Alero seeing some things and keeping quiet when you see some children.
It has to be Alero.
There are some people who cannot just keep quiet. Why are you not cautioning or curtailing this child? You're just letting this child run riot. So how do we manage all of that?
Do you know that a parent's personality is reflected in a child?
When the parent was small or when the parent is old?
No. Your kind of personality will reflect in your child. If you have the disciplined personality, especially people with obsessive compulsive personality, who want a pattern, if you see their child, you will know their kind of parent. And a parent that is freeway is the one that you see the child running around.
Mr. Akinyemi, I think I have some degree of OCD.
No, you don't have OCD.
Okay, all right. Well, my children call me.
You can say you have OCP, which is obsessive compulsive personality. When it becomes a disorder, it means that it's already affecting your daily
it's not a
activities.
disorder. It's not a disorder. Okay,
so it's personality.
Thank you. But it looked like my children rebelled against that. We are going to do the opposite of what this woman says.
Because they have
to tidy their room, it's a problem. To do the dishes, it's a they've gone now, But they still call me and
I'm sure you.
How is my OCD mommy? I said, okay, I'm going to be correcting them now. They should never call me OCD again. It's OCP.
You see, it's good to instill principles in children. As much as you feel they rebelled, if you look deep down there, you will see that they have picked some of those things, no matter how little. But if you just leave them, allow them live their life, the outside world will shape them for you.
What was that Lagbaja song?
Which one of them?
No, the child, Timo Okonle.
Okay, Mr. Akinyemi, it's Children's Day.
Yeah.
And some attention should be going to children now. The most that we'll have children's parties, in some areas, match pasts, special programs like that. Do you think society, from your experience, from your practice, is deliberate about children?
Our society, if it's deliberate about children, I really doubt. Who is a child? A child simply is someone who wants attention and who wants to be heard. Anytime I come to you, just answer me. Every of my queries, just answer. I need you now. You must be available. That's a child. And that's why, basically, when we see somebody, we say he's being childish. I mean, because he's exhibiting the attribute, attention. We want some questions to be asked. So that's a child. So does the society give attention to children? Do they answer questions? A child growing up now, I want to become a doctor. But he's in a society and he's looking around. You know, at some point, he might just be like, would this thing be possible? Because of certain threats that might be coming outward from outside, external factors. So my own is, if the society can answer the two questions, that do they give attention to children and do they answer their queries, then we would say they are children focused.
Be it directly or indirectly. Be it directly or indirectly, Mr. Kemi. I'm curious how society factors in, directly or indirectly, the welfare of the parents who take care of the welfare of their children. We've been talking about this all morning, and some people may be watching this, after it's broadcast and everything, but even the parents themselves, how significantly? Because, maybe let me put it differently. Parents themselves are stressed. You go to a stressful job, through a stressful traffic, come back from a stressful experience at your workplace, through a stressful journey home, get home, things aren't the way you expect them to be. How does that kind of parent balance life? There is that thing they call work-life balance, right? How do you balance your life in such a way that your parenthood or parenting equates significantly to the benefit of the child that you're raising? Because at the end of the day, that child is all you're going to have left in this world.
Parents need to be intentional about their children, just as they are intentional about their work. Why do people put their all in the job they do? Simply, maybe their life depends on it. Or simply, it might be difficult to earn ends meet if the job is over. So if you see that child too, that if this child does not do well, it might be the end of the world to you, I think you'll be intentional. Emotional intelligence too is important. How to manage your emotions. Take work stress off and still see how your family can still work. Do you know that some people get married and the first few years of their marriage, they decide that they won't give birth?
Mm-hmm.
Or because they want to strike a balance, an agreement. But then, our cultures too, we might not even allow some people practice things like that. Because from the day you get married, they're already counting days for you. It's 9 months. What's happening? Are you people having challenges? Let's pray. Let's do this. Let's do that. See this man. He's a consultant. Is this, is that. So they start mounting pressure. So people relatively can't even plan their life because of societal demands.
But they're getting away with it now. They tell their parents, that was your time. That's not how we want to live our life, so leave us alone.
But they still get choked. At times, when the pressure becomes too much, to an extent they succumb.
That's the parents.
They succumb now. Especially, they will have to succumb because most likely in our culture, especially in Nigeria, females are the women. They are always on the...
It's always their fault.
So they will
Except
succumb so that to prove them wrong.
Except they jackpot.
Yeah, when there's no
pressure.
interference.
But, you said something the other time about parents being deliberate.
Yes.
How far-reaching can that go? Here is why I'm asking the question. I'm a parent, I'm deliberate. You're a parent, you're deliberate. She's a parent, she's deliberate. But one or two other parents are not deliberate, and our children have to be in the same environment at the same time. You often tell us that children are impressionable. They live more by what they see.
Yes.
And the teacher was here the other time, sitting in that very seat, that said, look, parents, teachers, children believe their teachers a lot more sometimes than they believe their parents.
Yes. While I was in primary school,
our teacher said,
if you tell me my teacher is wrong, hey, I will fight you. No, what's my teacher that said this? I don't even want to, at times my assembly will be like, that your teacher. I have a degree better than that your teacher. And I will like, no, my teacher said this.
Okay, so then, the reason I'm asking that is, so these children all have to be in the same class. They all have to live and grow up together. The one with the good behavior being raised deliberately by deliberate parents, and the ones that are not being raised by deliberate parents. So a child goes out and, as Elero said the other time, picks up one or two habits that you, the parents, are wondering, where did you get that from? So what does this deliberate parent do?
A child eliciting bad behavior is not the end of life.
You're not nice.
Yes, it's not the end of life. If you are deliberate enough, you also see through to that child changing from the bad behavior. For the fact that he is a drug addict does not mean he will die being a drug addict.
So I should twiddle my toes and wait until he decides to change.
No. That has been deliberate. You won't wait till he change. Because you are deliberate, you will see to that child quitting.
He must change.
Exactly.
Okay. It raises the other question of discipline. There is a way you were raised. Child psychologists and society are telling you parenting styles have changed. You can't force the child to do something the child does not want to do. You have to answer every why question and all of that. So where is the balance?
Who says you can't force a child?
Oh.
Who says?
So you can't force how? You are the professional.
As long as what you are forcing, okay, a child is supposed to eat. And because you can't force the child does not eat. And as a result, how will I put it? As a result, you can see that the child is malnourished. People will not blame you and you get back to this one. Look at how good you are and see your child. All because you don't want to force the child. There are things that you will force a child to do. But exactly, the process we fight you now. But there are some things you might not force a child to do, especially in choice of career. You can only model.
So there are things you force a child to.
Guide.
There are things you don't force a child to. It's like I said, you are telling us now that parents need to go back to school to learn how to be parents.
Yes.
Well, there's no
You see,
school
when you
for
even talk about
parenting.
parenting style, you know there's no perfect parenting style.
And there's no manual either.
It's your ability to pick from all the styles at the appropriate time. When you are to be firm, be firm.
When you are not to be fed,
I think that's a good place to leave it today. Pick from the various styles that you know and gather your own manual by yourself.
And if you don't,
write your own manual.
if you don't know
What suits you and your children.
if you don't
And
know
for
any,
effective communication too,
Yeah.
if communication is said to be effective when there's a feedback.
okay.
So if you don't get a feedback, then your
And
communication is not effective.
from what I'm hearing, if you don't know any parenting style, Google it. What?
Mr. David Akinyemi, a child psychologist, thank you very much for coming to spend time with us on this Children's Day and talking to us about why children do the things that they do.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you very much. Happy Children's Day to you again.
To us. To us.
Yes.
Sunrise will be right back with the home stretch in just a moment. And guess what? We have a child star.